afterwards or at the coffee break around our booth. We can talk more. But my name is Bob Setter. I'm the Vice President and partner with the company Semiochemicals. We're a small manufacturer, and we're here to talk to you today about using compounds to protect red spruce from its typographus, using semiochemical-based compounds. So I have three of our customers here from Europe who have fairly good experience doing this kind of work, and I asked that they come and share their experience with our tools to try to see how we can move this type of work forward. At Synergy, we're, as I mentioned, a custom manufacturer of semiochemical compounds. We do synthetic chemistry in-house. We also do formulation and manufacturing. So we have our own custom release devices. We tend to rely on the bubble cap as our favorite tool, but we also use pouches, mostly low-density polyethylene products. I don't know if there's a pointer. This is a very interesting product because we can have a really good rate controlling membrane with our plastics. Our plastics are all spec'd very closely. We have to test incoming plastics every time we get them to check release rates, make sure they're still the same as they were before. We have standards and release rate standards on all of our products so that whenever you order something from us, you're going to get the same release rate year after year. These plastics are hard to get. We recently threw out several pallets because they had aged too much and the plastic had dried and it was no longer suitable as a reservoir and as a rate controlling membrane. So this is something we really pay a lot of attention to. At Synergy, we are also a manufacturer of insect traps. We have our own traps. We do have forest entomology experts on staff with decades of experience. All of us hail from the Chemical Ecology Research Group at SFU back in the 80s and 90s, and we have many, many decades between us of experience using semiochemicals in the field, so we're happy to help you where we can. We're really open to research collaborations, small batch compounds. We'll make 10 or 20 devices for people sometimes, just so that they can take out and try things. So if you need small batch formulations of compounds, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're very interested. And as I mentioned, anything that we sell a lot of gets a product number and a spec, and it has to be made the same way and perform the same way all the time. That's why we do the custom devices, and we also direct sell. We really don't have distributors in most places. We try to go with the compound ourselves or be available for consulting so that the end user can understand how these devices behave in the field and match it to the insect behavior. And we have a global presence. We ship to over 50 countries at this point. So if you're interested, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Today, we're here to talk about anti-aggregation compounds for scleridids. Mostly for us, berbenone and methylcyclohexanone are our biggest products in North America. And these anti-aggregation compounds are used to protect trees quite well. Douglas fir and spruce for methylcyclohexanone, and berbenone for the pine beetle complex, mostly mountain pine beetle, but there are others that it works quite variable with. And I think that's going to be a theme you see a lot, is variability in results here. And I think a lot of that has to do with operations when you go to the field. How you use these products and where you put them, when the pheromone plume is present, like how long does your device last, your release rate, at what temperature, and also where you place the device. How can you get the plume in place to interrupt the insect? These are all challenges that are very difficult in forest situations with a really variable habitat. I think orchards have a lot more success with these things, smaller controlled situations where you can do a little better work. And I think that what we're going to see here is that widespread use in a forest in a massive population, anti-aggregation is like trying to hold back the tide. It really becomes a challenge. But in small controlled settings with high value trees, I think that there's great promise for this work. As I mentioned, this is over half of our business in North America. We sell hundreds of thousands of these pieces of both methylcyclohexanone and berbenone a year, and people have been protecting trees for 5-10 years in some locations and still have great pine forests or Douglas fir forests there. So we're always looking for more work on this. Our compounds in North America, I should say, are registered with the EPA and the Pest Management Regulatory Association in Canada as insecticides. They're biologicals, but because they're classed as repellents, repellent was in the definition in North America of insecticide, and thus they put it in as a blanket. And really, they are not toxins. These are not functioning like traditional insect repellents for flies that are like transgluthin or other of the, sorry, I using the term right now, pyrethroid complex. They are not irritants. These are message-bearing chemicals that are inducing a behavioral choice in the insect, not an irritant that just makes them want to go away or die. So it's a very different approach. But you'll see here today with all the people presenting that there are different approaches, and many of them work well, and I think this shows great promise for the future. So here we have today 3 speakers from different locations. 2 of them are on the academic side and 1 on the applied side, where we're taking this out now for operational trials. And I would say there's a great opportunity with the operational side in these small controlled settings to have some collaboration with academics to look at how we assess this for success. And I think there's some opportunities there for any of you on the academic side that are looking for plots or places to do some assessment of this effect, to talk with Christian from Resolvo about assisting him with that kind of approach, because the work is already done. It just needs somebody to look at assessing it, the inside and outside, and maybe there's opportunities there. So we'll have to be pretty quick. I'll do a couple things quickly here to show you the difference in release rates and release characteristics between our bubble caps or our pouches that are in this controlled plastic membrane versus monolithic devices, and how the devices differ. Again, you can see that with our bubble cap controlled membrane at 25 degrees centigrade, you get a very controlled release rate right up past 20 days. So this is our pouch that releases, if I can find the pointer again, at a much higher release rate, around 70 milligrams a day, and it will last quite long, and it can vary the load for longevity, but really the membrane is what controls release. And it will double with a 5 degrees centigrade increase in temperature, or it will half with a 5 degrees centigrade drop in temperature. And these characteristics hold true from freezing till about 30 to 35 degrees centigrade. After those heats, we really don't know. We really are looking internally now at heating these things and cycling these things internally at our lure engine chamber to try to understand how fluctuation will change release rates. With a monolithic device, and this is the wax of splat that we tested in-house in our lure engine chamber, you can see it starts at a much higher release rate, and it drops very quickly, and it ends up with a lower release rate than a bubble cap. So these are great for controlled settings where you can go out and replace the lure more regularly, every 30 days or so. Gives you a good tool and a high release rate in mating disruption, things like that. I think it works very well. But if you're in a forest setting and the cost of the work is going out there to put the devices up, I think it's really helpful to have something you can keep at a higher release rate for a longer period of time. We would use these small devices in a forest setting where we want more points of control under a closed canopy, where you just want to keep the insect flying. And then in broken and open canopies, we would use a higher release device because you just can't contain the plume. It's going to disperse much more quickly with updrafts and everything else. So we've got 2 different release rates, and we mix and match these as required depending on the conditions. This is our MCH bubble cap as well, and with that we can change the bubble cap, and this is much more volatile compound, but we can get up to 17 milligrams a day out of this device, again at 25 C. And we can just change the load in these devices to allow us to go longer into time with these. So just to let you know, we also make all of attractive lures. We're doing a special for people here to try to see if people are interested in our attractive lures for typographus. We're going to do these for $10 US. We have 3 components in separate devices, again, so we can control the release rates over time. Putting these in as a blend in one pouch gives you less control. It can work, but it just gives you a lot less control over the release rate of each device. We can also drop out the RESDiNET as required. If people just want a really cheap device that would last longer, we can go down to 2 components. It's very easy for us to shift this around. And we're also saying we have some t-shirts at the back. There's lunches here. Help yourself to the t-shirts. If you don't get one, but you would like one, or you're interested in ordering these, let us know your size and we'll ship you the t-shirt at our cost, or ship it with these products if you're interested in buying it. So with that, I'm going to introduce our first speaker, Rostislav Jakas, to talk about